If you're new in town or just new to this actual play thing, you're tuning in to Lore by Night Productions. Together, alongside a culturally diverse and queer cast, Lore by Night Production aims to bring fun actual plays varying mood, tone, and wholesome chillaxed fun with none of the pretentious perfectional bollocks. In this episode, you're listening to a special delivery, a Wraith the Great War one-shot using 20th Anniversary Edition rules. The full cast will be revealed at the end of the episode. This actual play contains themes of dark personal horror, excessively bad language, and violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised. And with that out of the way, are we sitting comfortably? Good. Then let's begin. Someone once said that war never changes. A simple statement that really makes you stop and think. With a bit of thought, you will know that it's not actually very clever. In fact, it's a massive lie. So allow me to tell you some harrowing truths about the so-called war to end all wars. The total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I via accidents, disease, and deaths while prisoners of war was around 40 million. 40 million. There were 20 million deaths and 21 million wounded. The total number of deaths includes some 9.7 million military personnel and about 10 million civilians. Most of the casualties during World War I were due to war-related famine and disease. I think it is fair to assume that many were gone before their time. In our world, this grim world of darkness, those that pass away with unfinished business don't always pass on. Their emotions are so strong to their fetters, places, people, and items so emotionally bound to them that their beings almost refuse to transcend to the afterlife proper or succumb to oblivion. No. Where the restless dead, ghosts, spirits, or wraiths reside is in the Shadowlands, the realm of the underworld that runs parallel to our own. It is a blanket that covers the Skinlands, the material realm, as it were. A multitude of subtle differences makes up the world of wraiths. The shadows that are cast are darker and longer, highlighting decay rather than obfuscating it. The churches are more grandiose, with more gargoyles to boot, whose wicked designs claw up the architecture. The winds howled louder, and the cold is more bitter. You get the general idea now, I'm sure. Fancy Gothic writing aside, allow me to set a more current scene for you. It is the 27th of August, 1917. The war to end all wars continues to rage across the Skinlands, casting lost souls by the millions into the Shadowlands. The legions that make up the hierarchy that dominates the Western underworld fight for control as their leader, Charon, has gone missing. Again, the combined conflicts and massacres of the underworld and Skinlands brings about what is known as the Fourth Great Maelstrom, a storm of unimaginable proportions. Little in the Skinlands can endure such weather, for lack of a better phrase. Our wraiths, still getting accustomed to this unsettling purgatory, begin this day in their shared haunt, their haven. The Three Pigeons Hotel, which sits on the top of the Guildford High Street necropolis opposite the Holy Trinity Church, with a fair cobbled path that runs in the middle. We are, of course, in the barely United Kingdom. It's not a very busy hotel / pub, especially with what's going on in the world at the moment, but there are some there. If you were to peek through the shroud, as any wraith is able to do, you can see that there is some forced sense of morale. It's about 8 p.m. There's some punters about. There's somebody playing a jolly little ditty on the piano. There's some drunk punters singing along, but there's someone else's hands on their table, and there's some people upstairs. It's about 8 p.m. So, with all of this in mind, what would our three be doing at this time?
I would say that Charlotte would consider wanting to sit near the window. Possibly, but also having been through the experiences of being on the battlefront before, torn between standing directly in front of the window and then kind of changing courses and then deciding to step kind of to the side, so angled out the window possibly of this hotel to like get a different line of sight. So kind of paranoid is the best way to put it, but gazing out at an angle, sitting peacefully, kind of keeping to herself. It's probably what she would be doing.
It's fair enough. I mean, you lived through and passed on from very paranoid times, knowing, not really knowing what was going to end you. Far too many of your own, I guess, colleagues came and went. So many soldiers that you were tempted to heal passed away in some varying degrees of agony. But looking out the window, it's quiet and it's very barren and lonely. You see the other wraiths wander about through the very, I guess, almost musty windows, very stained. You can imagine that in the Skinlands equivalent, it'd be quite a dirty window, but it's highlighted and intensified here, and it's just so cold and desolate.
It's so different here. So different. Is this, and then like turns to my other two companions, like, is this how it is going to be forever? She rolls her eyes like, don't all talk at once, I guess, and like looks back out the window.
Eleanor probably listen to the singing and the piano playing, and after a while answer, I mean, this isn't too bad. It could be worse, right?
That is true.
Oh, it could most definitely be worse. It could be Louisiana in the middle of a heat wave.
Never had the pleasure, but I have heard about that heat.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a pleasure, Anna says as she tries to pick the ever-present lint that is on the uniform that she passed in.
I suppose that brings a very interesting question. What does everybody look like?
Oh boy. I have a question then. Would we look like how we died?
That is a very good question. Yes, I would say you would. You look very much as you had died. I mean, let's say you lost a limb. That limb, I guess, in corporeal form would be there, but you would appear as how you remember yourself being, or as some people would put it, you would look at yourself in your prime if you were of a certain age. But there may be certain factors that may change that. But
I got you. I would say that she's about 5'6", 5'5", like an average height. Dark brown hair, wavy, pulled into a bun, a tight bun. And she's dressed as a nurse. But she looks like she is partially dressed with probably like a holster of some sort. So like you're sure that nurses should not be carrying guns. So it's confusing, but you get the vibe of a hardened look, somehow having to do with the front lines this nurse might have been a part of. So yeah, like she looks partially like dressed to, like probably like a weighted jacket of some sort to take damage is the best way to put it. So yeah, dark eyes, dark skin.
Anna was killed en route to her new post as a telephone operator for the U.S. Army. So she was near the front lines, but not dressed for the front lines, still in uniform. She has soft, round features, curly, light blonde hair and gray eyes, and just a rather pleasant U.S. Southern gal look about her.
Eleanor wears pants and a button-down shirt, which isn't too usual, but you can clearly see that it's a bit dirty, especially at the knees. And you can make out a faint, small handprint on the side of her arm, probably a stain. And she has long blonde hair tied up in a bun, a ponytail, not a bun, and looks a bit done, lack of a better word, a bit spent, which she shouldn't, because she doesn't look really old. She looks quite young.
so all of you are very far away from home. Debatably, Anna, furthest away from home, you guess trapped in what's known as the Dark Kingdom of Iron, the Western collection of underworld, where you should be really is, I believe, the Dark Kingdom of Obsidian. So how does it fare being in these strange lands?
Well, ever since I got here off that very first plane, it has been very strange. It's gotten even stranger, but you know what? I can make do. We're just going to turn, lemons into lemonade, as they say back home.
Interesting. But does the Shadow wish to make lemons into lemons? Lemonade, rather.
Is that a question for me?
Sorry.
TLDR.
I'm sorry.
We could do so much better if we would just fuck some people up, you know? You could do better than this. Just sitting here doing nothing. You could take some action, and yet you're just listening, not even doing much. Failed your purpose once, failed your purpose twice, I guess.
Well, now, I don't know about all that.
Everything okay over there?
Oh, everything's just fine, honey. Why don't we all go out and cause, I don't know, do good in the world? Maybe we can do something that, helps people.
I am all for that. Where and how? I don't know how this place works at all. Do people get harmed here? I can help in some regard with helping, but aren't we looks down? How do we help? I have no idea. I would love to know.
Just for a point of clarification, are you asking in or out of character?
In character.
Okay.
Well, I don't know either. That's why we got to get out of this room and go figure it out.
You seem like you know what you're doing, and you have a very leadership quality about you. By all means, I'll follow.
Well, as my daddy always said, it's not about what you know, but how you intend to go about doing it. You can walk right into anywhere thinking I own the place, and people will believe you if you're convincing enough.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen several people die thinking they know where they're going. But by all means, lead with confidence. We got your back.
But please don't lead into death.
Yeah, please don't lead into death again.
Yes. I want to come us out of this not deader than now.
Yes. And I would say Charlotte stands up and brushes off her skirt. It's like, let's see if we can help people.
You could just stay right here. Just, ignore that little blonde. She obviously doesn't know what she's talking about.
That's true. She doesn't.
You go out there and more people are probably going to die.
That's the way of the world out here.
You can watch more people. Yeah. It's not like you could possibly stop any of that or anything. You couldn't stop it before. Why start now?
Whoa, no. I'm pretty certain that I could if I tried, but also, what is the point? It's only the way of the world. This place is going to get filled more and more with people, regardless of what we do. But we'll feel better about doing it or not?
Excuse me, is everything all right with you? You keep mumbling to yourself.
Oh, don't worry. I'm pretty sure it's going through the motions of death, I am assuming. Or maybe it has something to do with this place. It's kind of weird.
It is.
Maybe it's just something that you ate. Little indigestion.
Right.
Anna will just chuckle at her own joke.
Right. Shall we?
Yes. But if you ever need someone to talk, I'm here.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
So I'm assuming you're all going to leave your haunt outside, or are you exploring upstairs? Which direction are you heading?
Since Anna said we're going out to help people, I'd assume Eleanor would start walking towards the door.
I would say walking towards the door, but I'm going to check the hallway just to see what it's like, because I'm not sure if we've ever been outside yet. But I would say that she's going to look around and take in what's going on where she is.
Cool. We'll focus on that for the time being. It's really, if you just envision like quintessential British pub, it's kind of like that. It's a bit of a boxy sort of environment. The bar itself takes up more of the ground floor. If you wished to poke through, well, with your eyes look through past the shroud, no one would be able to see you. You lack the gifts to materialize in the Skinlands, but you are able to see through. And as I described earlier on, there's just a forced sense of morale. I mean, the idea of, oh, let's go and battle the hunt. We have this done by Christmas. You know, that sort of the British arrogance is just no longer there. It's you can clearly see that they're trying to keep themselves motivated and optimistic, but it's very much to you, your conflicts with your shadow. There's a great sense of what's the point. There is a little garden at the back, like a little seating area where some people have drinks, but that's empty.
Mm-hmm. So far, I don't see anyone needing help. There's a bar seat over there, and possibly could sit and have a drink. But what's that? No, I don't hear any screaming. That's nothing there.
Alas, even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to have a drink.
See, lovely. Couldn't even have a drink if I wanted to. That also kind of sucks. Like she walks over and just, it's one of those things where she walked over, halted. It's like, right, I don't have a digestive system. That's not how this works anymore. God damn it. Outside, there is a lovely garden out there.
So joining up with the other two, who I'm assuming are just about to step outside, when you open your door to the horn and there's this, despite being August, there's this strange, unpleasant coldness in the air and perhaps the brewings of a storm, there is a little box on the doorstep, sort of wrapped round in a brown packing bit of paper with a little bit of string that's tied it together, and sitting beneath that package is a letter.
Which one of y'all has the secret admirer?
I sure don't.
I definitely don't. Not anymore. Looks down both. I'm assuming it's like a pathway. I can just look down either side of the door to see if anyone is retreating or anything like that from dropping us off. No.
I think we'll make this the first roll of the game if you want to see if there's anybody that's who potentially could be the individual that dropped it there. So that would be, I reckon, a perception and investigation. And anybody who wants to do some looking as well may roll that as well.
I have one success.
Anna had 2 successes.
And I didn't look, she just picked up the package.
All right, for me.
Which is totally fair. With the other two, you're looking around, you see people coming and going. Occasionally somebody looks at you, see the three of you just sort of poking out, maybe on the sort of on the path. There isn't a porch or anything, it just literally just steps out onto a path. But there doesn't seem to be anybody that strikes, oh yes, I'm the one who put this on your doorstep.
Yeah, just people passing by, doing their thing. No one looking overly suspicious and new at this.
No.
Okay.
Now, Eleanor, you said that you picked up the parcel, correct? I'm assuming with that you picked up the letter.
Oh, yes. And I first want to look at the parcel and see if there's anything suspicious about it before I read the letter.
There doesn't seem to be anything suspicious at the moment. It's just a brown box that's got a little tied up with a bit of rough string.
Then I'd go on to read the letter, I guess.
Right.
Oh, come on. What's it say? The suspense is killing me. Again.
Oh my, the suspense is definitely killing me for sure.
Right?
Still looking around for people.
Now, speaking out of character for a moment, Rica, I have sent you an attachment, which is of said letter. If you are willing to describe what the letter looks like and to read it out, you can. Otherwise, I shall take over that with no problem.
I can do that. That's fine. The letter has a grayish turquoise look to it, and a symbol in the back, which is behind the words, of something that looks like a sword with an arrow at the top. And the letter says, to whom this may concern. To consider this ancient bow your haven during these trying times is an honor. You proved yourselves worthy to adorn the title resident of the necropolis, so you were permitted to remain. Through careful negotiation with the former occupants, you were able to claim the Three Pigeons Hotel as your haunt, much to the jealousy of many wraiths in this necropolis. It was, as previously discussed, an unauthorized acquisition, but approved tentatively in an agreement that an additional task could be undertaken for you to fully acquire it as your own. It is now time to repay that debt. The Circle, the illegal occupiers of this haunt, are to take the attached parcel and deliver it to the London necropolis. It is to make its way to its citadel, the Tower of London, and hand it over to the Grim Legion, Anacreon of London. Florence Merriweather, under no circumstances are you to open it. The relevant parties will know if it has been tampered with. The severity of this task should not be undermined. There are other not-so-hospitable parties who would benefit greatly from the materials within. Its safety is your greatest priority. In short, the fate of both necropoli rests in your hands, and it would be in your best interests to not disappoint. Yours sincerely, Tobias Monk, Grim Legion Minister of the Guildford Necropolis.
Well, that's a lot of big fancy letters to say that I need you to run an errand for me, but I guess it counts as helping someone.
Look at you.
Yes, yes.
So we have to do an errand in order to secure our spot at this location and claim it as ours. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, I think so.
Sounds like it.
Nice. Wonderful. We just have to deliver this, that's it.
There's nothing else in there, so we're not to touch it other than carry it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Should be fine, right? Should be easy.
It does say that other people want it, so...
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Do we know how to get to... This is out of character. Do we know how to get to this location? This...
Well, you'll know... all your characters will definitely know of one way, which is via the Midnight Express. However, that is not the only way, and that may not necessarily be the fastest, or might be. So if your characters wish to roll a intelligence and politics, or intelligence and survival, you may be able to ascertain more ways of getting there. There isn't survival, my bad. So, yeah, intelligence and politics, or intelligence and streetwise, my bad.
Okay. Neither do I have, but I will still roll and see, because I got...
Which one would you be attempting to roll?
With streetwise, I just have 0 in either, so what, can I still roll even though I have 0?
You can, but you have a +1 difficulty, so rather than looking for 6, you are looking for 7.
Okay, well, no then. Like, I got 2 successes, but yeah, no, it's fine. It's okay. Don't worry.
I didn't even get a success.
Anna did intelligence and politics and it got 4 successes.
4 successes. Well, Eleanor and Charlotte, you're just thinking, well, we'll talk about the Midnight Express for a moment. The Midnight Express, you have heard through the grapevine, as it were, that it's supposed to be the quickest and the safest way to travel anywhere in the underworld. As the name would imply, it's a big old locomotive that arrives at exactly midnight, wherever you are in the world, regardless of time zone, and it arrives at all stations simultaneously. That's about as much as you would all know about this train. The downside to this at the moment is that it's currently 8 p.m. and you'll be having a 4-hour wait, which may be somewhat of an inconvenience, but moving swiftly on, the rest comes down with you, Anna. With 2 successes, you would know that obviously the most obvious way after that, despite being a bit more dangerous, is travelling through the byways, which are great big masses of underworld land that's hostile and dangerous, and you have winds and god, whatever is going on out there, because you haven't exactly been able to explore much outside of the necropolis. It would at the moment it would currently seem faster, but not necessarily safer, unless you're wanting to take that chance, whether you, I don't know, decide to go for some sort of car or convince some people to fly there by planes, because there's probably a couple of relic biplanes somewhere, somehow. With 3 successes, you have also heard whispers of the so-called ferryman that are supposed to, for a favour, take passengers from one place to another. And with 4 successes, you also know that the ferrymen are supposed to give you safe transport regardless of the storms. So there's 3 options available to thee, providing you wish to communicate all of that to your circle.
Yeah, Anna will relay all of that and say, we really could take the ferryman. I've always wanted to go on a boat trip. Never got the chance to.
This boat trip, we would have to give something as a favor?
So we would trade a favor for a favor, basically.
Basically.
Would it be one person or all of us?
I don't know. Guess we'll just have to go and find out.
Okay. But safe passage for sure with the ferryman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I am totally down and aboard for this. Lead the way, leader.
Do I know?
Sound good.
Do I know where to go to find the ferryman?
Well, you know certainly where to start looking. You would have to find some source of water, and I'd say it would be about a 5-minute walk further down the high street, past the church, down the cobble paths, passing more very sad and clearly disturbed wraiths, going past some more confused than others, of varying different ages and sizes, and some more skinny and larger than others, almost cartoonishly so, as if said individuals had a very warped view on themselves. There are some children, Wraith, that are walking about. Again, some more confused than others. Some are very enjoying the idea of being ghosts. You can see that a couple of them, they're like appearing to be pushing at nothing. But if you were to look, you would see that they are exercising their arcani, their ghostly powers, to basically harass the mortals or the quick, which of course you would know is a big no-no, of course, presuming that you don't get caught, that is. Other kids there are obviously confused, lost. But following this 5-minute walk, what sort of thoughts are going around everybody's heads, both their own and both in some form of arguments with their shadow?
Eleanor would look at the children and see how old they are, if maybe she recognizes one of them, and be lost in thought.
Do you wish to roll to see if you recognize any of them, or just a casual glance and see, oh, no, I don't know them. Oh, they are such and such.
I'd roll.
That would probably be a in perception and alertness or awareness, whichever one of those is higher.
Okay. 5 successes and 2 of those are 10.
That is an exceptional number of yeah, that's a lot of successes. You're very good with faces, and you're very good with the particular face I believe that you're looking for. Alas, none of them are the face that you're looking for, but you do recognize one of them, the little Tabitha, who's probably the closest thing that you have to a neighbor. She seems to be one of the more, I guess, content. Well, she appears to be content, but you know Tabitha very well, as he's grown up with Elijah. And Tabitha's definitely putting on a poker face. You can kind of see the quivering of sadness in her eyes, as if she wants to cry, and it probably would be crying, but alas, the corporeal form does not allow one to leak from their eyes.
Is she far away or pretty close?
You could probably get to her in a few paces.
I'll be back in a minute if that's okay with you.
Sure. Is everything all right? Is there something over there?
I've just seen someone I know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait for you.
Thank you. And Eleanor would go over to Tabitha.
You see her all standing in a dress. It's not fancy or anything. It's more of a casual wear sort of thing. I don't think that her family could afford all that much. It's sort of a dark brown cover. You notice if you take a good stare at her face now that you're a little bit closer, some of it is kind of. It looks like that she's gone through some sort of burns. Not like it's disfigured or anything, but it's kind of like burnt as in colour. But it looks more a part of her, sort of running underneath her skin rather than on the top layer. And she sees you, and she looks very puzzled, and her face just changes. Like, oh, good morning, good evening, Miss Reed.
And I would go down on one knee. Hey, Tabitha, how are you?
She's sort of a loss of words, trying to force a smile, but again, the facade she's trying to put on isn't exactly working. Like, and she sort of launches herself at you with a tight hug, perhaps a bit too tight around the ribs.
Yeah, Eleanor would hug back.
You don't really care, do you? You're just trying to show a front here. You would identify a face. You need to show a face to make it seem like you're nicer than you really are. But we all know you're as selfish as ever.
No, I want to help her.
No, you don't.
I do. I really do.
So what are you going to do? You're going to like pat her on the head and then walk off and do your little errand that you were getting ready to do? What is she going to do?
I will help her. Tabitha, do you have somewhere to stay?
She sort of leans her head away, and you can sort of feel the brushing of her hair against your face, and you think she's shaking her head. I want my mum.
Tabitha, do you know the pub up there? And I would gesture up. We're back where the pub is.
The Legionnaires says that I'm not allowed to go up there, that it doesn't belong to me.
You're allowed now. It belongs to me and my friends, and I allow you to.
She sort of pulls away a bit more, and her eyes again wells up in a different manner. And her eyes sort of well up in a different manner. There's a smile that stretches kind of uncannily across the face. There is a smile there of joy, but it's a little unrecognizable. You sort of the left upper lip sort of moves up a little bit more, probably an effect of her demise, I guess. You sure, Miss Reed?
Yes, I am. You go there now, and we'll be back later. We're bringing something to another friend, and then we'll be back. Okay?
Oh, Miss Reed, thank you so much. And then all of a sudden, almost very like kind of like Tourette, she slaps you on the hands. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's okay. That's fine. Just go about now and don't speak to anyone else, probably. That's better.
She sort of nods her head, like vigorously, sort of detaches herself from you and sort of runs up the hill, almost tripping over her own feet, and sort of heads towards the horn that doesn't need to unlock the door or anything. She just opens and just slams it behind her.
See, I can help.
Yeah, and then what did it do? With no gratitude, immediately slaps you. What was that about? This is why you shouldn't be nice to people. You should kind of stick to yourself and do your own thing. Selfish isn't a bad thing. It's taking care of yourself in regard to anything else. You gave her a place to stay and she slaps you? What's that?
But if I was alone now, I wouldn't have this haunt. She wouldn't be able to go there, and I wouldn't be able to go there. I need the others, and they need me. We need each other.
Keep telling yourself that.
You know what? I will.
Sure.
And Eleanor would go back to the others.
So heading...
Charlotte's going to say, is everything okay? Because you're walking back. Sorry. It's like, you're everything good? Probably seeing the kid run past.
It's It's just she was my neighbor and she had nowhere to stay. I hope that's okay. I allowed her to go back to ours, so she's not that alone anymore.
Yeah. That's fine. It's a
Thank
child.
you.
Well, someone's got to look out for me. You two over there, you stop doing that right now. If someone catches you doing that, you're going to get in trouble. You know better.
Oh, fuck off, you nosy bin! And the kids sort of run off as you say that.
Well, that
Well,
was
at least
just
they're not.
rude.
At least they're not practicing out in the open now.
That's fair. All right. Continue.
You head further down, it's not much left, and you are standing on the edge of a platform, and there's a bridge all crooked and gnarled. But you are standing on the edge of the River Way. And there's a couple of boatmen, like some with a punt standing, just like it's like moving itself through custard. It's very thick. Obviously, this isn't what British rivers are like. This is obviously some weird, twisted form of the underworld. And with your previous number of successes, Anna, you do know what to look for. One lone figure stands in a very old wooden boat covered in, you're guessing is seaweed, probably standing all about 8 foot tall in a black robe and a hood. Up like a spire at the back of the hood, there's like a lamp that just shines ever so ominously. This is a ferryman.
Oh, yes, over here. Excuse me. Hi. Over here, please.
The head of the figure who you're waving at so subtly, very slowly, kind of like trying to open a creaky door, just sort of slowly moves its head over, and you all see this hooded the face of this figure, or well, I should say skull of this figure, because it's more skeletal in appearance, with no eyes. You can see the teeth. It's basically what one would describe as the Grim Reaper holding onto this rod that's within the water. He sort of stares, and the boat just sort of floats forward to its where you are standing.
How may I be of assistance?
That's exactly what I thought he would look like. Taking us to, what was the location again? Sorry.
Going to London Town.
London Town, okay. Like, can you take us there, please? This seems to be the best way, according to Anna. But we need to give you something, right?
Your sources are correct. Fewer, safer ways to travel the underworld than in the boat of a ferryman. And yes, we of the boatman's oar do not accept Uberlei currency, but favor something of great value to you free.
So is it one each or one together?
One each.
Oh, I see.
I mean, we're already doing favors for someone that we don't really know, so what's one more favor?
But giving something that's important to us? What could that be?
I mean, anything that I could possibly give has already been lost in me, well, before I even died. So I don't know what I could give you.
You will each.
And he extends a very bony finger that pokes through his robe, and he points the three of you in turn.
The location of one fetter.
Can I say no? Like turns to them. It's like, two of them are living people.
I mean, then you have a third that's not a person.
Rather not give that one up.
All right, well, I mean, we can always just go and wait for the train. It's going to be another couple of hours, though.
What about your fetters? Are y'all willing to part ways with those?
I have absolved my fetters eons ago. Perhaps.
And he sort of swaps hands and gestures with your oar, and he pulls it up, and it's not quite an oar as he lifts it above the boat, it's more of a scythe now, and he puts it back into the water. Sludge.
Very well. If you are not willing to give a location of weapons, how about this? In time, at my convenience, I will find you, and you will perform a task for me.
I would prefer that, personally, than giving up what I have. I mean, I'm freshly dead. I would rather not get rid of my fetter. I don't know. You said eons ago. I don't know what eons ago is for you, but this is recent for me. So eventually, maybe one day, I would like to separate from what I have, but not today. No, I would prefer to give you that future favor. I probably will be regretting it, but I am totally okay with that right now.
I have a feeling that we're going to run from favor to favor, but if that's more what you want, of course, we can do that.
That's fine by me.
Superb. Enter the boat.
And he sort of gestures his another bony hand to the boat behind him he is standing on.
Eleanor would lead the way.
What, no hand to help us in? They just don't have any manners in the afterlife.
He returns his hand back to you.
As long as I am taking you, your lives are of utmost importance.
Well, I guess that is acceptable.
It feels exactly how you would feel it would, just rougher, colder, and you're pretty sure there is a bit of bone that might be missing in his palm.
Love it.
And he very gently and almost gentlemanly helps you onto the boat, and he doesn't take his eye off you until you're comfortable.
She's just going to situate herself in the boat.
And he turns to you, Charlotte.
You don't have to help me. I can just, and then just slowly walks on, just wanting to make sure everyone else got on. And it's like, I got it. It's okay. I've done this before.
Now that you are all seated, please remain seated for the remainder of the journey and keep your hands and arms within the boat. Failure to do as I ask will force you to leave immediately.
Understandable terms.
Completely agree.
Good. My name is Archaeolus, and I will be your ferryman this evening.
And as he does that, his very slow and almost exaggerated movement begins to oar his way out of Guildford. And kind of like an early, 60s or 70s films, there's kind of like a transition in the air around you. What was once familiar city and bridge and the sounds of kids mucking about and abusing the dictum mortem. Suddenly you're surrounded in... I'm not even too sure what a shade of green to describe it. It's just murky, and it's... At first it is loud, just howling and shrieking and God knows what, but then as the boat begins to pick up speed, it's almost like someone has turned down the volume of your ears and the noises are muted. And whereas your shadows were once beckoning and mocking you and gaslighting you, you don't hear them. For the first time in all of your existence in the underworld, you do not hear your shadows. For once, you have peace in your head.
Well, this is different.
Huh.
It's very quiet here.
Mm-hmm.
Rather nice and peaceful, I'd say.
I agree.
Yes.
The perks of the ferryman offers many bounds. They can know that I can hear them and how they cower in the tempest.
Sort of looks around him at the swirling fogs, the seas, and God knows what. You're pretty sure you saw like a massive beaten up ship just sort of swerve past in the distance. But then this boat that you're in begins to pick up speed a little bit more. Almost unpleasantly so. You're not too sure how long you've been sailing for, but he's picked up speed. And as if you're going to ask, why are we going faster? He says,
Keep to yourself. Specters are incoming.
And at first, you're not too sure what he means by this because you're looking ahead, you're looking around, you don't see anything around you. But it doesn't take too long until you hear the sounds of manic laughter. A variety of different bodies sort of begin to flail and fly past you, some with more control of their movements than others. And I require everybody here to roll for me Dex and Athletics.
Cool. 3 successes.
1 success.
2 successes.
Oh no.
Okay. So Charlotte, you got 3 successes, yes. 3, 2, 1. Okay. As you wouldn't expect, you have all been warned about specters, ghosts, wraiths that have lost themselves to their shadow, and it's not so much as a fight to lose themselves as a living, rather than to spread its malevolence. All sorts of people, again, different shades, colours, some varying mutilations, and God knows what. They're throwing themselves at you, letting the winds of the tempest just lob themselves at you, trying to hit you with whatever weapons or things they have. Charlotte, with 3 successes, you managed to barely, not get hit by God knows what. Anna, not so much with you. You have like a couple of flailing bodies just hit you, and some of them punches you, and I require you to take 2 points of superficial damage. And then there was Eleanore. At some point in the journey, very quickly upon the assault, something claws you across the face. It burns and it stings, and it's something that you've never really felt before. And I require you to take 1 point of aggravated damage. But as for Archaeolus, whose name I cannot pronounce properly, he is keeping to his word. The boat is still moving forward, even though he's taken his scythe out of whatever, and he is slashing and he's hacking away, doing fairly well at getting rid of them. And I need to do one more roll for him very briefly. Despite being appearing to be very slow and deliberate, he is moving at a very unnatural speed. That's quite a lot there. Another spectre flies at you, Eleanore, and by the skin of one's teeth, Archaeolus reaches back and grabs the individual around the head. His bone-like fingers sort of like covering this, you think it's a teenager's face. And then the teenager spectre begins to catch fire, screaming and howling, and when the scream begins to stop, Archaeolus lets go, and this flailing, fiery body flails into the nothingness behind him. And this spontaneous assault from the spectres ceases, and the storm gets a little quieter again. He puts his oar back in this ocean that's around him, and he turns around. His head pivots round, so it's done like a full 180 looking down at you.
I apologize for any of you that were harmed in the process of this attack.
He looks at you, particularly Eleanore.
I am no sorry to you.
He bows to you, but his body is going the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely okay, Archaeolus. I'm so thankful that you grabbed the other spectre.
Oh, it's nice to be appreciated. I do fear that's where you're heading, and there are worse things to come.
And as he says that, his head begins to turn round again, and he starts to sing very badly.
London's burning, London's burning. That's the engines, the engines.
And he kind of sings like that for the rest of the journey, unless he is spoken to directly. You're not too sure how long this goes on for, but eventually the scenery around you becomes less chaotic, the pandemonium fades, and you arrive in London on the banks of the River Thames. So the 3 of you step out of the ferryman's boat, and as you carefully step out, Anna, if you were insisting on the ferryman to help you out like a gentleman, he would happily do so. But as you all make your way out, not forgetting the package, of course, Archaeolus will say,
Please mind the gap between the boat and the platform edge. You wouldn't want to fall in now, would we?
You're very kind. Yeah. And like just slowly like does carefully like step out as well. And is gonna go up to Eleanore to check on. Is it on the face? Right, is when where they.
yeah, it's difficult to miss these massive gouges across the face. It's getting a few stares as you arrive at London.
Did you want me to help with that?
Can
That
you?
seems extremely uncomfortable.
It is, to be honest.
Like it was just so nicely saying it. It was just like, yeah, it's just. So I'm going to reach out to my shadow and activate, or see if I can activate a pack of doom to get more in one of my things. 1 second.
So in less
sir.
mechanical terms, you are beginning to negotiate with your shadow in order to... It's interesting. Now, would the shadow want to help or not? What could you offer the shadow in order to aid your friend?
I'll tell you what. You help Eleanore and ignore Anna for the next 20 whole minutes. And I'll do it. Not terrible for you.
Your understanding of Urusy through, I guess, for lack of a better word, magic, suddenly becomes a bit more advanced. But yet at the same time as insisted, or I guess demanded by the shadow, who all of you, the shadow's voices begin to return louder as before when you leave the safety of the ferryman that's slowly moving away. You do feel just the urge just to ignore Anna. Just the inconvenience that she is.
Well, that sure is a good trick. I'm sure we'll use that more in the future, right?
That is very kind of you. Thank you.
The Wraith may transfer up to 1 corpus per success. So you've got 2 successes, so you then put those 2 into... Well, you don't have to move the whole 2, but as there was 1 aggravated, I'd say that would be more than enough to heal the flesh wound, as it were. But what you would see, Anna, is that Charlotte approaching Eleanore, and I'd imagine that Charlotte would be like, would you put your hands on her face? Is like your hands in front, or...
I think I would like not put my hands directly touching, but like kind of hovering over both sides of her face. And then pouring energy into this space to heal the wound.
Yes, and Anna, you would see, as I guess you could describe it as one's life essence, just moving from Charlotte and into Eleanore, and as this grateful act of charity, you see these claw marks begin to stitch itself back up together, reversing the damage, as it were.
Feeling better?
I do. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's how it works as a ghost. That's interesting. All right.
You haven't done this before?
I worked on human bodies before, not on ghost bodies, but it felt natural, so I'm glad it helped.
It did.
Well, it's good to know your skills translate.
So we're gonna go continuing this way, right? Like full body, not like turn away from Anna. So it's that way, right?
I agree, Anna. It is good. And I think so. Yes.
All right. And then moves onward and kind of just like briskly passes by Anna.
Is it?
Did I say something?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I know I have a tendency to rub people the wrong way, but I can't think of anything between here and there that I might have said.
Charlotte, is there any problem that you have with Anna? Because we should get this out of the way now.
Oh, I don't have a problem. Why would I have a problem?
Oh, it's one of those times. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and carry on. I'm sure we'll all be the best of friends by the time we get back to our haunt later.
I bet Anna's shadow is having a field day with
Yeah,
this
just having a good old time. I was like, Just like giggling over there.
Yeah, her shadow is probably not so pleased.
Anna, what is this? You letting me ignore you?
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I would ignore you if I can. You're insignificant.
Well, that's a little bit rude. A lot a bit rude.
Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Oops.
Why does that sound completely disingenuous?
Because if you were worth something, I'd maybe feel sorry. But you're not.
Anna's lip just sticks out and quiver, and if she could cry, she would.
And it's good to see that your company's agreeing with me.
Oh, shut up, you. Come on, everyone. Let's go. There's just that very like tight walk that someone gets when they're determined to not just break down.
Eleanor is a bit confused why this is happening. They both seem out of line somehow. It's just
Eleanor.
walking fast behind them.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Things were good on the boat, and now they're not.
Yes.
But yeah, so just walking ahead, following the path.
So the tense trio, you walk down, it's very straight. Of course, you all know London. You've all seen London before. It's very much like London proper. It's busy and it's packed. Different cultures and styles populate the streets. And also the same could be said for the buildings. Although it's more cultures, as in years gone by, you have a whole hodgepodge of ye old cottages, the Industrial Revolution factories that just continue to pollute the air with smog. The Thames, all twisted and gnarled, is a putrid black, like it's... You've heard stories about how filthy it is, but this is something else. This is like top-tier filth. And the ships and boats that can barely float upon it just sort of basically just wading through. There's a lot of resistance there, but just life in the underworld here just sort of carries on as normal. It's kind of like clockwork, as you've kind of noticed that a lot of things are here. Now, as you move closer towards the citadel of the necropolis here, it is the Tower of London. It's the very famous white fort that sits on the Thames, and things become far less civilian and a bit more, I guess, professional. You know that the Tower of London is a place of execution. It's a garrison prison in the Skinlands. In fact, during the First World War, they started executing spies again after like some 170 years. But as you approach, sort of curving around the side of this path, again, more of this putrid black stuff. In front of these two wooden doors are two guards standing at the main entrance. They are wearing a heavy grey clothes, and you recognize these. These are the legionnaires of the Grim Legion who have dominated the United Kingdom during this portion. And these grey uniforms sit upon like this sort of Roman legionnaire stuff. Maybe you've seen about it in the books or something. You've had it described to you. But on top of these sit black mantles, and there's like rumour that apparently it absorbs sunlight. So it's kind of an intricate thing going on. And on top of that, there have been also alterations made on these armours that they loosely resemble the yeoman's ward attire, the beefeaters that guard the Tower of London, i.e. the guards of the Ravens, in the Skinlands. But as you approach further, they're holding these two halberds, like one either side. And as you get close to the doors, they, between them, cross the spears over. And almost at the same time, they shout, "Halt! Who goes there?"
Why don't you just talk to Eleanor some more? I think you should just spend some more time talking to Eleanor. Talk about your powers and how exactly they worked, and just keep going. Just keep driving that home. Just how close you two are.
Sure. Again, like she slowly, as they were walking, leaning towards Eleanor, it's like, so about my powers. What I understand about them is that, like, at least in regards to me, I feel like I have to give something up in order to give. So it's kind of like a give and take, you know? So like, it's like giving part of myself to you is essentially what it's like. So yeah. And technically someone else can give me their energy.
Speak your presence or be forced to attack!
Okay.
Hi. Sorry, we have this package, and Eleanor would hold it up, and we are supposed to bring it to Florence Merriweather?
One of them takes a step forward. Am I correct in assuming that with the package you brought the letter?
Yes.
They take the package in the one hand, they're sort of inspecting this, and he sort of looks at the letter, hands it to his compatriot who looks at the letter. The two of them look at you three, narrowed eyes, judging you. Hands the one with the pass on the letter hands it back to you. Wait here! I'll be back. He sort of pivots around very militaristic and sort of like marches inside. And you're left with the one legionnaire just staring at the three of you, holding the letter still.
Pleasure to meet you too.
He doesn't say anything, he's just staring.
Right.
Thank you for explaining your powers, Charlotte. It's very interesting.
It's interesting, yeah. It's different. Transferring what I knew before to now. Yeah. Is it possible?
Maybe you should go tell the Legionnaire about it too. They might like to know.
Like, does it like barely react? Just no facial change, as if didn't even hear what Anna said at all. And it's just like, I'm not sure why it transfers this way. I would assume that I would have to actually use like a scalpel or like stitching or something like that. But this is different. This is like streamlined. This is a new experience for me. And she's going to start looking around. Besides the Legionnaire, is there anyone else around? Is this giving off the vibe of like the soldiers or like soldiers who've been here or like circulate through here at all?
I mean, you look around and you see more legionnaires. They're individuals who carry this aura of like official. These are members of the hierarchy. There are legionnaires about. It's London is as I hinted at a moment ago. It is like the main home of the Grim Legion of the UK. It's very official here. You look a little out of place here, shall we say?
Is it possible to look to see if any of them look familiar to me?
You can certainly try. If you could give me a perception and alertness or awareness.
Perception or alertness. Well, they're both the same, so let's go for it.
For all successes, you sort of, when you stop with your monologue to Eleanor, you're sort of looking around, taking in the sights. Very to tell, you see, like above you, there are legionnaires with these rifles. You hear the sounds of primitive machines working about. You see all sorts of things that a lot of people wouldn't notice just glancing about. But you don't see anyone that you recognize here.
I would say she has a dejected look as she's trying to identify people. Kind of thinking back to Eleanor, like being able to identify someone that she'd know from her past life and was hoping maybe she would see someone specific in her past life and hasn't.
But alas, you don't seem to recognize anybody here. See lots of other useful things, potentially, but no. Missing.
Other useful things like machinery or like weapons or anything like that?
Well, you see at the top of the Tower of London, they're like people with rifles. They're not sniper rifles. There wasn't really a thing then. Kind of, I wouldn't say blended in. They're not like camouflage, but they're like trying to, like they're hiding. Like one of them's pointing their guns at you, Free. You hear like something like being hit with an anvil. Like there's some sort of machine things going on. It's a bit distant. It's a bit difficult to work out with all the different noise of busy underworld London. But again, not something that a lot of people would notice on a casual listening sort of basis.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's not long until the other legionnaire sort of stomps through. He stands very militaristic, very straight, rigid, holding this spear. He salutes his compatriot and he looks at you. You three will follow me immediately. And he turns around and he walks back in.
Lovely.
Everyone's just so warm and cozy today.
Elna goes first just to have those two behind her and not have to deal with them.
Some sound thinking.
Nicely done. Just gonna walk begrudgingly next to Anna, essentially.
Anna does not even turn her head to look at you.
Exactly. Just, we're both doing it to each other. Okay.
Anna, how do you feel about all this? And how is that emotion resonating with one shadow? Like, is there anything that you particularly want to do about this or wish you could do? And is there anything that the Shadow could capitalize here?
Oh, she's pissed. To suddenly be shut out with no reason. She's pissed. I don't know that there's anything that she could particularly do about it. That would probably come when they came back to the haunt later.
I think Anna's Shadow would like to use Trick of Light.
And what does that do? And what would you wish to do here?
Oh, I wish to do so that Anna can't hear if anyone's talking to her. She can hear everything else, but no one talking to her.
That is horribly delightful. So what does that require role-wise? Is there any role that you need to do or willpower expenditure?
It costs 1 temporary angst and it affects the whole scene.
Duly noted. And I was actually going to consider this a new scene, so fantastic. So you...
They'll be fine, don't worry.
Oh, I'm peachy. So you are escorted through a very busy inner Tower of London. Now, I'm not too sure of its usage prior to this, but I know that years after this would be more of a tourist spot as well as people living here. But during the First World War, as in the Skinlands equivalent, there would be people like doing military exercise and those sorts of things. And that behavior kind of reflects here as well. The Citadel is like the main headquarters of the hierarchy in this particular necropolis. And in London, not many people would be able to walk through here without, being fairly high up in the hierarchy's orders and the legionnaires. Again, there's exercises going through. There's like very serious people are walking to and fro. There's conversation. That tinking that you heard earlier on, Charlotte, all of you see in the distance. They are repairing a relic tank, which isn't as effective as future tanks would be, but it's big and it's going to, if it rolls in front of something, it's gone. But you're taken through up a very narrow tower. This tower is where the executions would happen. The prisoners to be taken into the execution. It's like the main big tower. It's the biggest tower there. There's a very narrow and spiraling staircase. And you just go round and round. It's very, very claustrophobic. If there's like one more person here, you would probably start feeling a little claustrophobic. And you're led to a wooden door. And there's a very firm knock. There's no answer. The Legionnaire knocks for a second time and you hear a muffle, "Enter!" The Legionnaire pushes open the door. "You will follow me!" And he takes a step through the door.
Eleanor follows.
Same. Just quietly. This is like very demanding. This is just their vibe, huh?
So the three of you enter, and from what you've seen so far, you expect more of a prison cell, but what's actually here is just a fairly fancy-looking study. Yes, there's some hints that of it being a prison here. The windows are replaced by iron bars. The bookshelves are replaced by a wooden bed, for lack of a better word, on a chain. But the woman that's sitting behind the desk is a gaunt, frail woman in Elizabethan attire. And a golden, heavy brocade or brassard, I've never been too sure of the pronunciation, stockings, tight-fitting doublets, long, billowing dresses embellished with pearls and jewels. Very fancy, but weathered and decayed. Very narrow, kind of like a caricature sort of drawing, of a person, of an older person, with sort of frilly hair, and like that honestly looks more like a bad toupee than anything genuine. He sort of stares at you with a hawk-like face. "These are the individuals with the parcel, ma'am. Excellent work. You may leave us." And she sort of gestures at the Legionnaire to disappear. The Legionnaire sort of stands, salutes, and sort of pivots round and sort of like stomps back down the stairs, only after slamming the door behind him. The woman stands up, and she's not very tall, like 5 foot, if that. But as she does so, the bobbing of her standing up, sort of her head sort of flops on its side, and she just has to push it back up. "I am Florence Merriweather, Anacreon of the London necropolis, and I believe the three of you have something for me."
Yes, we do.
"Come on, speak up."
Yes, we do. Yeah, yes. Eleanor, you're up there. You might want to hand the package over.
I was planning to do that.
Okay, yeah. Give it. Sorry. by all means, do what you gotta do.
Ella would go forward and keep the parcel at a distance to herself in front of her, and reach over to Miss Merriweather.
She looks at you sort of down her eyes, clearly looking, even though she's rather smaller than you, she's sort of trying to her best to look down, and you looking down on the pass, and she sort of scuttles forward. She, with her these hawk-like fingers, takes the parcel from you. She sort of holds it against her ear. She rattles it. There's no rattle. And you said you could do this, And she's looking at you, Anna. Now her lips are moving, but you can't hear what she's saying.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, who sent you?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that.
I said, who sent you?
I'm sorry. We got this letter. It was Tobias Monk, and Eleanor would hand over the letter as well now.
Now, clearly irate, she snatches the letter from me, and she just sort of flaps it like it's a bit of parchment sort of thing. She sort of she holds her face as if she's wearing monocles, but she's not wearing monocles. Didn't really exist then. But she's sort of looking at it like a bit of dirty laundry, scanning letter. Ah, yes! She sort of turns around, puts it on her desk, and she puts this box on the table, and she very neatly just unties it, and the wrapping paper sort of unravels. And for a glimmer, you see it's just a black box with strange circular markings on it. Oh, excellent work! She turns back to the three of you. You'll be rewarded handsomely. Leave!
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I do something horrible?
As the player or as the shadow?
As a shadow, yes.
Sure, he says.
It might not be terribly horrible. Maybe it won't. Can I do the death sigil of your character, which I think is smoke, if I remember, or a heavy choking smoke of some sort?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
The smell of smoke, I think it is.
Yeah, heavy smoke. So yeah.
So what is the intention here? Is Eleanor going to start emitting smoke, or?
Yeah, she's going to start emitting. How would you describe yours? the smoke for Eleanor, I suppose.
I would have said it's the smell of smoke. Sorry.
Just the smell of smoke.
Yes.
To offend, I guess, is the best way to put it. Because you're in front of someone that seems to give off an authoritative presence, obviously with a high pitched shrill voice, which wonderfully done, by the way. But I think it's just cost one angst, right? For each point of angst. Oh, and if you want to turn it off, you have to use one will point to turn it off if you want to. That's all it says.
I don't remember. Do I notice it myself, or do others have to mention it to me?
It seems like you would notice if this one makes it very distinctive. It just makes you distinctive to everyone. All it says is only by spending will point can you turn it off. So you would notice, I think, immediately. And it is visual as well. So I'm going to use angst point. And clouds kind of start flowing off of your skin and around your hair and through your clothes. And it just keeps on. And it just seems like an immediate response to you'll be rewarded handsomely to that one.
And you said it smelled as well. Am I correct?
Yes. Like a heavy smoke. So what, cigar smoke or burning?
Burning.
Oh, okay. Even better.
Indeed. The vision I was going for, and by all means change this if you don't agree, I was thinking of more the brief smell of burning flesh that you probably might have smelled just before that you passed away.
Yes, exactly.
This is a lot worse than I thought. And by all means, yes.
So, like a burning stove comron and cooking God knows what, Eleanor sort of begins to emit, as beautifully described, this sort of smoke as the paid handsomely bit of leaves Miss Merriweather's very tight shrieking maw. She sort of sees this, she picks up on the smoke. You all smell this. It's particularly rancid. Anna's actually probably the only one who can't hear the shrieking, but they can definitely smell like. Sweet heaven, Bexy's a magic droid. What the F are you doing?
I'm so sorry. I'll stop. I'll stop immediately, and I'd like to spend the willpower.
Right. It's all very well just being happy and celebrating, but this is not the place for that sort of behaviour. Please leave before I change my mind.
Of course. I'm sorry. And Eleanor would just go.
People have to know about how you died, I guess. Like, isn't that important? Like, you gotta, like, make yourself known in the weirdest situations. That's what you're known for, right?
I'm not known for this, I think. I don't want to be...
You're known for being selfish. Kind of, isn't that correct? People need to know about you.
I'm not selfish.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I am not...
Yes, you are. You totally are.
No, I'm not. You can't just say this. You don't have proof.
I have so much proof. So
No.
much. I could do
Tell
something
me then.
else.
Tell me then. What did I do? What selfish thing did I do?
Is there any reflective surfaces in here?
That's a good question. Now, I have a little home rule I do for my games, a little thing called odds and evens. And
Yes, please do.
It'd be a wonderful time to exercise that. Basically, I have a black D10. Just showing this off for the players, just to show that I'm not lying. I'm going to roll it, and depending on your answer, it's going to determine yay or nay. So, odds or evens?
Even.
There are no reflective surfaces in this room.
You could just hear the shadow just grumble. And it's just like,
not now, but later. I can show you just fine later.
Do that if you can, but I helped other people today.
just sounds like she just harumphed.
I'm assuming the three of you just make your way out. All of you confused in some manner or another. Tell me, as you are slowly making your way down these stairs and back into the Tower of London proper, what's all going through your heads? Do you converse with each other at all? Well, I suppose only one of you can talk properly at the moment.
You see, the thing is, Eleanor would ask Anna, do you think I'm selfish?
I'm sorry, what?
It's okay. And just go further.
Why would you ask that? Looking to Eleanor.
Just a thought.
I mean, you did a weird thing in there, but it seems I thought I just attributed you to being nervous. That she had a very high pitched voice, so and very intense in general. But no, you did the thing. I mean, you brought a child that needed a place to stay to our haunt. I'd say the opposite.
So it's not selfish to just decide something about our haunt.
Well, not selfish. I wish we would have appreciated to talk about it, but it's still a child. Like, it'd be kind of weird to turn away a child in need, right?
Okay.
We could talk about it later is the best way to put it, but I think you made the right call.
Okay, thank you. Do you agree, Anna?
I'm sorry, what? I can't.
Are you okay?
I don't know what this whole talk of selfishness is, but whatever this game is that you two are playing, I am so over it. Can we just go home now? I'm done. I'm done with both of you for the day. I want to go find the nice ferryman again.
As the beginnings of a little argument begins to boil and tremble, you go to reach the door that just lets you out of this tower, and the door opens to somebody else on the other side. It's a very tall but rather rotund figure with a very elaborate moustache and a little stringy beard, sort of wearing a like 18th century sort of like military uniform sort of thing. This is Tobias Monk. Ah, you three! What a pleasant surprise! What brings you to London town?
Surprise?
But yes.
Weren't we supposed to bring the parcel here?
He raises an eyebrow in an almost comical fashion, just like he has no idea what you're talking about.
We were told to bring a parcel here by you, or else we wouldn't have our haunt anymore.
Yes, I remember the agreement of you not necessarily being a legal occupant of the hoard, but what is... And when he's rambling away like this, a couple of interesting things begin to happen. 3 bells, kind of reminiscent of the Big Ben, begin to chime, but it's all very warbly and very unpleasant. It chimes 3 times. Now, you know that when you are in any necropolis, you hear 3 large bells. Well, one particularly large bell, you know that a heavy maelstrom is coming. The 3 of them indicate its strength. So the highest being 5, 3 means shit's going to hit the fan, essentially. And he sort of looks around, and Tobias sort of begins to look around, and, oh, good heavens to Bexy and Murgatroyd, what is... And then the tower that you were just in from the very top explodes. And a horrible, I guess, whirlpool of fire just sort of spins high into the sky, and everybody just around their ears sort of like begins to duck, and there's a bit of panic. People look to the skies, and then these tears that begin to open up in the skies, the ground, both inside and outside of the citadel. And things begin to crawl out above and below, all around you. And then these sirens, which you wouldn't know this, but in later years would become something reminiscent of the air raid sirens. Not only is there a maelstrom imminent, but London is now beginning to be invaded by specters. When this happens, you know that it is your duty, as Wraiths of the Hierarchy, to defend the necropolis. Now, you may choose to do this somehow, or you may do something else, depending on where you stand with all of this nonsense, as you try and avoid these torrents of rainfall with debris, animals, and a strange burning sensation, and winds that very quickly begin to kick up at well over 100 miles per hour. Like, things begin to go flying, people begin rushing about trying to get things into order. You hear gunshots, you hear fighting, you hear shouting. It's all very quick and it's all very sudden. Everyone is mustered into action. Tobias he's forgotten the confusion, and he's beginning to run off into do whatever. What do you intend to do now?
Charlotte's gonna go right into action, battlefield mode. This is where she's used to being on personally in the last years of her life. So she's gonna remember where the riflemen were before, and wondering if there's like probably a gun available where they are, and she's going to go towards them.
They were high up in the tower, so you would have to enter a different building and, just climb to the top.
Is there any other guns that might be available where we are, where we're like getting ready to exit? I guess we were getting ready to exit from.
I would say that given the situation and what was happening previously, there'll be like boxes like with rifles and things in them, relic rifles at least.
So I storm over to one like really quickly, grab one, and then turn to these two, and it's like, do either of you know how to handle a gun?
No, I don't.
I mean, I had 2 weeks of training, but mostly I just worked the phone lines.
Better than nothing. Like dips in, like hands over a rifle. Eleanor?
I can't. I can maybe find a place where we can shoot from.
Sure,
but
let's do that. This is gonna go to hell. Literally. This is going to go to hell pretty quickly. It's either we stand and fight or we dip. But looking back to where shit went down, she's getting a sinking feeling that we had something to do with that. It's like, I don't know what that was, but we need to either defend or leave. Thoughts?
Defend, but on the safer side, not front lines maybe.
Okay. Is there a good place to be that's not directly front lines? Probably defending us, as well as like stopping them from leaving this area. is the best way to
Eleanor
put
would
it.
look for the same.
Well, fortunately, you are in the whole necropolis, with the exception of London Waterloo, which is where the Midnight Express would have been. You are in the safest place within the necropolis. The citadel is the most fortified position in the entire city. You are within it, and if you were wanting to stay and shoot at any specters that you could, I guess your best vantage point would be somewhere. I forget the name of it. It's not a balcony, but it's like at the top of the towery bits.
I forgot what it's called too. Like I just learned what it was too. But yeah, I'm down for that. I'm going to go for that.
Anna will do the same.
So the three of you are going to go shooty.
Well, Anna and Charlotte probably going shooty, and Eleanor will try to point out where to shoot and keep an eye out.
That's fair. Now, there's an awful lot going on. Now, if you are interrupted in your way getting there, like something leaps out at you and tries to hit you, would you try to engage in combat or try and run away from it so you can get to your vantage point?
I would try to go into combat, and probably, like, I would try to get into a fight with them so that the other two can, like, go ahead of me, is the best way to put it, is what I would try to do. If that did happen, which it sounds like it might.
I think Anna will defend herself, but she's not a brawler.
Fair enough. And Eleanor, I'm presuming from what you were describing about yourself previously that you're not really built for sort of hand-to-hand combat.
No.
Me? Who?
No, Eleanor.
Just check again. No.
Just
not
checking,
really.
like, am I? No, I'm not.
You know what? That is totally fine. And with that end, could everybody roll Dex and Athletics, please?
Sure.
Now, there was an awful lot going on, both hand-to-hand combat, weird shit flying through the sky, so I'm going to make this a difficulty 7. 3 for thee.
2 for Anna.
2 for you.
2 for Eleanor.
Well, the good news is you do manage to all miss the various bits of shit and God knows what flying around. There is still this like acid rain that's burning you, which isn't doing anything yet, but it's very much something that you are aware of. As you are beginning to approach, like you see the people running through and like individuals like popping out from the up toppy bits that we're beginning to forget the names of. As you're beginning to reach up to the door and the last few people run in, a hole begins to open up from the ground. It's black as the ace of spades, and you hear some of that similar screaming and howling from before, and out from beneath that, something very small climbing through it, and these sort of like insect-like wings are flapping manically. It's a humanoid thing, and these wings are sprouting from it, flapping manically, one more so than the other. It's a child specter, which climbing out from the ground with eyes wide, similar burning marks that you saw earlier on, Eleanor, and there's been some sort of modifications, I guess, has been made to their face and their body that this spectre somehow has been abused and mistreated and whatnot. But other than that, could you, Eleanor, describe to me what Elijah looked like in life?
I sure can. Elijah was 5 years old. A bit small for his age. And he had short blonde hair and dark brown eyes. And last time Eleanor was seeing him, he was wearing shorts and a shirt.
Well, a lot of that clothing remained, albeit in tatters. There's more of him than there is of clothing, and the brown hair is there, if a bit flaky, like a badly stitched together doll. He sort of stands up with this face of excited hatred, just looking at the three of you, and that face changes ever so slightly when he sees you, Eleanor. But he's standing in front of the door, like these fingers of his extended. He's here to fight.
I'm so sorry. I am
yes,
so
Charlotte.
sorry. Shadow time.
Of course.
Question. What happened to this child? Did you tell me what happened to the child? Or
Well, Eleanor died because there were bombs falling down, and she couldn't find the child Elijah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Didn't know what happened to him until now.
Gotcha. Okay. So Shadow like is very loud in one of your ears as this is happening. It's just like,
you got yourself out and died, but look what happened to your little one. Even worse. Who's selfish now? You should have tried harder. You should have tried a lot harder. Now look at him. His faculties are gone.
No, there has to be... It's still my child. Eleanor would take a step or two forward towards Elijah.
You're gonna do something about it now. Oh, I would love to see what you can do now to save him. Now? This is entertainment.
you just hear the shadow cackle as you're walking forward.
Eleanor would try her best to ignore the shadow and just start talking to Elijah. Elijah, what happened? Is everything... How can I help you? What happened?
I don't need your help. I'm free.
What are you doing?
How are you free?
Anna, Eleanor, are you okay?
I am. And Eleanor would take another step forward.
Get away from him.
Eleanor would try to sing to Elijah and use mute music to invoke positive emotions within him. I want to calm him with probably the lullaby Eleanor kept singing to him when he went to bed.
So yeah, manipulation and keening, diff 8.
Oh, this is great. No success.
Oof. Now, the realization and the horror that not only you have found out about your son is, I'm not going to say alive, exists. You know what's happened to them. They have become a specter. Creatures, as you've been told, of pure nihilism, minions of entropy incarnate, filled with hatred and despair for everything else. And your sweet little boy, all barely recognizable like this, and you attempt to sing. Your heart may be in it, but your soul isn't. And Elijah just sort of slashes at your hand, slashes at you away. He doesn't make contact, but he's not having it.
Okay.
Screaming and hissing at you, and he looks like he's ready to pounce on you.
Anna would stay where she is.
Okay, so Charlotte's not going to let that happen. So I am not sure entirely how it works, but let's work through it. So I'm going to use a bulwark, which is part of the castigate thing. No, it's supposed to help with, what is it? To use this art, the Wraith pays 1 pathos per level of the maelstrom. It's meant to protect me and my companions from the effects of the maelstrom that is around us right now.
So the level is 3, plus 3 for the difficulty. That's the difficulty of 6. As the spectre is directly in front of you and knows that you're there, I'm going to say that they will be able to see you.
So that's a -1 to difficulty on any stealth, is what it says. I'm not trying to be stealthy. I'm saying she just realized she could do this is the best way to put it. So that's I had 1 critical, but not a double critical, unfortunately. So it's a success of 3, and it did not meet 6.
So I would say that you are doing a decent enough job at you. The 3 of you stop noticing the burning sensation, sort of like what previously felt like stinginess was just beginning to pick up a bit more here, until whatever just happened where you just notice this acid rain sort of begins to lessen, almost like bouncing upon this sort of like invisible dome of nothingness around you. Doesn't really detract the spectre's attention from Eleanor, and they are going to use something. Eleanor, could you roll from me your stamina and willpower. Your unspent willpower.
3 successes.
Elijah lunges himself at you and he wraps his hands around you. This isn't a hug or affection. This isn't even a hug. It's more like a bear clap thing. He's sort of sticking his fingers into you and you feel that he's trying to do something supernatural. But nothing's happening and he's sort of screaming and howling as any toddler would do when he's not getting his own way.
Can I attempt to pull him off Anna? Or off of Eleanor? Why? I keep seeing my own name and then calling everyone Anna. Gosh darn it.
The underworld does strange things to you. Yeah, you absolutely could. You would have to move around, so I'm standing in front of Eleanor. Would Eleanor nail this?
Good question. I don't think she would.
This is going to be an interesting roll. So could you roll for me, I guess, strength and brawl, Anna? And could you roll for me, Eleanor, I guess the same? No, sorry, Dex and Athletics. I'd say Dex and Athletics, you're trying to get
No
away.
successes.
And I won't roll for Elijah. He can't do anything. He's preoccupied.
1 success. And I only rolled 1 die.
Whoa!
I only have 1 die in strength.
Well, 1 is all that you need. Is this sort of kid is sort of wrapped round Eleanor, whatever this thing is. And this is when the kid's going to start fighting back, because he's realizing that you're beginning to pull away now, so he's now going to fight back, and he's going to roll... I'm actually going to say this is a flat strength, because he's not trying to dodge out of the way, he's just clinging on for his dear unlife.
Yes.
So you got 1 success,
Come on,
yes?
you. Now, Temper Tantrum never got anyone anywhere in life. Or undeath, or death, I'm assuming.
It is a tie, and in the event of a tie, it goes to the active participant, which goes to you. You doing this... Begrudgingly, this kid is lifted from Eleanor, sort of hands and feet. There's not wearing any shoes, clawing, wanting to get back at Eleanor, practically foaming at the mouth at this point.
Anna's just going to hold him at arm's length. Now listen, you quiet down now.
Put me down!
Absolutely not. That is not how you ask for something. Now ask nicely.
Fuck you! Put me down!
Just to give a very pointed look at Eleanor. You okay, honey?
I have a question. The power Morphian Embrace of Phantasm. Can I put a specter to sleep with it?
I would say yes. The specters are still wraiths. I would still this would still apply. What was that? Manipulation and subterfuge.
For the contest, it's intelligence and subterfuge.
Intelligence and subterfuge. Beg your pardon. Oh, that's a massive 1 die for me. Standard difficulty?
I think so, yes.
Cool.
Oh,
We'll go with that.
let me check.
Very nearly rolled the dice then. That would have been dangerous.
The 1 die. It doesn't state anything else, I think. Oh, no.
Suggest.
Player rolls perception and phantasm, difficulty of the target's willpower, so I would need to know the willpower.
The target's willpower. That is a difficulty of 5.
Okay. 2 successes.
How would you go about putting Elijah to sleep? Giving him out these all hands and feet.
Anna is still holding him, right?
At arm's length.
Yes.
Yeah, just like...
Yeah, Anna would try to get closer, but still arm's length, because she is recognizing that this is still dangerous, and start caressing his cheek and telling him it's fine. He can sleep now. He can rest.
It takes a while, like a few repetitions of this, and the flailing of the arms and the screaming of the foaming of the mouth begins to stop, and sort of like you're still holding the arms, like just the arms and legs just sort of drop, and probably the most peaceful and less vengeful this child has looked the entire time you have seen him.
That's good.
Oh, now. Almost looks cute.
No, I'm sorry. I just witnessed all that. Like if you turn around to where Charlotte is aiming that like rifle at this child and waiting because like it seems like you know who this is. And it's just like, but I'm not gonna shoot. Just that was a lot.
That's why I said almost.
Fair. That is fair. I have a question for you, keeper, storyteller, GM, whatever you would like to, whatever, the director, either way. So, I have an ability called Purify. It is used on shadows, though. A specter is when they give into their shadow, is that correct? Is that reversible, or is it just like, nope, they're too far gone, it's too late, essentially?
I don't think you would know. How many points does Charlotte have in a cult?
Ooh, I don't think I have any. 1 second. Nope, I don't. So I wouldn't even know that. I wouldn't even put that together. All right, cool.
No.
I would say that she would like to help or feels the need to help, but doesn't know what to do with herself. So it's like, so she's just holding that rifle. But now it seems pacified. It's like, who is that?
Eleanor would take Elijah away from Anna and just put him into her arms, holding him. That's Elijah.
I'm assuming you're a child.
Yes.
Slowly lowers the rifle. Slowly, very, very slowly. I'm very sorry. He looked like he wanted to kill you, though.
He's not himself right now.
Yeah, I would say. You can't keep him like that forever.
I know. I'll help him out of this. It's fine.
Can I roll on occult to see if there's anything that can be done?
Sure. Intelligence and occult, please.
Mm-hmm. Thank goodness I made me smart and spooky.
Bless.
4 successes.
4 successes. That's a substantial amount of specter knowledge that you're going to exercise here, in both senses of the word, potentially. You have heard or read or researched that it is possible for a specter to, I guess, get better, to revert back to themselves, but not through outside means. A specter must choose to revert back, whereas you, Wraith, are in conflict with your shadow not to become a spectre or to give in to oblivion. A spectre fights their former psyche to resist the urge to transcend, to be, I guess, normal, to put in quotation marks, like everybody else.
Well, I mean, there is potential that you could help him save himself, but I don't know how easy that's going to be on someone that's so young.
That's okay. I'll do my best. I'll make this work.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
And I'm assuming with the invasion in hand still.
Yeah.
Just to put aside this touching moment, for example.
Like,
oh, that's right.
And things are just like falling around us and shit.
Oh, yes, there was something going on.
Yes,
now, before we do that, there is one thing that we have to resolve here. As, first of all, Eleanor, you taking Elijah with you?
Yes. No. They probably we're inside somewhere, right?
You're about to climb up a tower and there'll be whatever
okay.
castle balcony bit.
Yeah, is there like maybe somewhere we could put him into safety and lock the doors?
Odds or evens?
Odds.
You find a locker of some description that you could shove him in or place delicately.
I'll place him there delicately, of course.
a specter child in there. It's no biggie.
I'll place him there delicately and close and lock the door.
Cool. I may have set this up. This was the thing I wanted to resolve, but this wasn't the thing that I wanted to resolve. Now, one of your passions. What are passions exactly? Passions are the emotions that are driving the Wraith forward. They are keeping them pushing forward and not just falling into a pit of despair. But with the loss of passions, you take that bit step away from the Skinlands and a bit further into oblivion. Now, one of your passions regarded finding out what happened to Elijah. That's been resolved. That you have found out what's happened to him. And I'm going to ask you to make to roll your willpower to against the level of the said passion. So I believe that particular passion is 5. So that's a difficulty.
3 successes.
3 successes. As you're sort of processing this information, you do feel a pull. It's not quite your shadow, but it does feel like a part of you about to pull you in. But you do feel that there is a shift in purpose now, rather than not finding out what happened to Elijah, but maybe in the near future trying to help Elijah. Very narrowly missed a destruction harrowing. So you could you can wipe off that particular passion from your character sheet.
Okay.
So that bit of tension out of the way. Onwards and upwards. You reach this balcony where a lot of the action is happening, but because of the walls and whatnot, you're able to hide and take aim, if you so wished, or in the case of Eleanor, giving directions pointing yay or nay.
Yes.
So, Eleanor, could you make for me a perception and, again, alertness or... No, sorry. Perception and investigation or alertness or awareness, whatever those are higher. And with all the action that's going on and the flying debris and whatnot and basically a hurricane, this is going to be a difficulty of 8.
Oh, jeez.
8. Oh, still 3 successes.
3 successes. Well, there's often been stories and myths that a mother with fueled on the sole protection of their kids and with a stronger, I guess, in this case, a passion and a purpose, this protective need, your friends and Elijah, if you are not able to do this properly, then Elijah's gone for sure. Assuming that the Legionnaire doesn't find him in the locker first. But you are able to point out some specters that are they're easy to pick off for the other two. And to that end, could Charlotte and Anna roll for me your dex and firearms? And because of the useful helping, that will be a dexterity of 6 rather than the initial 8.
Okay, if I don't have firearms, how does that affect me?
That is a +2, so you're back up to 8.
Okay. 2 successes.
1 second. 2.
2 each. Whether it's because you're rusty or that you only did your gun training just to get in, respective of the Wraith in question, and perhaps, or maybe it's not hearing Eleanor properly. You know, there's a lot of noise going on, like the planes are flying over now, there's winds and all sorts of chaos. You are able to pick off a couple of specters, not in a vital location, but you like get like one in the shoulder, one in the leg, and planks onto the ground. If you wish to carry on fighting, that would require another dex and firearms with the same difficulties. I'm assuming Eleanor is still giving this advice out.
Of course.
I feel like Anna is just pointing her gun in the general direction and then closing her eyes to fire. 1 success.
Again, the Charlotte is getting more into the hang of it again. Like she's used to using a weapon a bit more. She's able to. The one that was shot on the shoulder is now shot on the head and is sort of like planks backwards onto the ground as they sort of hit. They sort of like dissipate in smog and almost like glass. Just how they just disappear and dissipate and just sink back into the ground. Maybe the pressure's getting to Anna a little bit. You're that close to hitting another. And if you could just roll for me one more time. The same rolls. 3. Charlotte's very much into the stride, just now beginning to...
Sorry.
in it. Just like taking them out bit by bit, and Anna is just a bit overwhelmed maybe. Like, I don't know if Anna would actually have been in a fight before, perhaps, and this is all just a bit too much of a sudden.
I went to the range once for training. Maybe twice. I mostly paid attention.
Is that really all you can do? Not even hitting with the last one.
No, I didn't, but I can type 50 words per second.
Oh yeah, that's going to save yourself. That sure will help.
Well, in a diplomatic situation, it might.
Yes, because you're going to take revenge with a very diplomatic situation, right?
The pen is mightier than the sword. Not that you'd know.
You know, that specter might have been the one that killed you, like before you died, actually. You know? And you just let him go. How does that feel?
Anna's gonna ready another shot.
With this little exchange going on, I think this would be an interesting time to talk about shadow dice. The shadow, if you're wanting to beckon Anna into this, or perhaps even aid her, you can offer up to 5 additional die to improve the chance of successes. But of course, doing so, with every success you gain with the shadow dice, you gain that number in successes. So is the shadow going to help her out this, or is she just going to watch her and suffer?
No, the shadow's just going to watch her.
Sure. Michelle would like to take another shot.
I would say that while this is happening, like she's probably muttering to herself and like kind of looking over. I'm like, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Bang.
No successes.
No.
Misses entirely. Like, are you sure? I thought you knew how to do this.
I would be better at this if I didn't have an audience or anyone talking in my ear or in my head.
Sorry.
You know what, Anna? Try again. Try again. I'll help you. Do it. I'll help you. It's fine. You can't do it without me, can you?
Does the shadow help?
Yes.
Okay. How many more dice is that?
How many do you have?
Hold on. It's the shadow would roll a different. Well, usually if we were in a group together, the shadow would physically hand to them a different pool. So we can't do that here. So, Eleanor, sorry, Anna's shadow, I should say. How many of shadow dice are you willing to lend? You can lend up to 5.
She currently
3.
rolls 3.
Yeah, 3.
So you add 3.
Okay.
So the pair of
Yes.
So shadow rolls dice, diff 8 with all the stuff that's going on, and dex and firearms for you, Anna.
Okay.
So you're both rolling different pools. Like you're just the shadow's just rolling 3 dice, looking for a difficulty of 8, and Anna is rolling dex and firearms.
Okay.
And we're going to add them together.
2 successes.
2 10s, but I would like to activate bad luck. And make Anna reroll her 2 successes.
Vicious.
Oh my god.
No successes.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Oh, this is amazing.
That was wicked and cruel, and I love it. Okay, so this is what happens. Sorry, Char, how many successes did you get with all that going on? I forgot.
I got 2 10s. I actually got 2 10s.
So the 4. Charlotte, did you roll again?
Oh wait, do I have to roll?
Well, if you want to take another shot, by all means. I thought.
Oh yeah. I would say I'll roll again, but I wanted to do something just because I'm now a little concerned about Anna over there. But we'll see.
2. You're a little bit distracted, and obviously there's people behind you shouting, all running about, and all the different noise I've described already. You take a shot. It's not as great. You could do better. But whilst you're distracted with the state of Anna, you do notice that there is a change. Maybe it's because of your handling with other people's inner demons, or I guess the shadow, or your familiarity with Anne. You do sense a slightly nastier presence, that something is leading her who takes this shot, and a headshot, uncharacteristically good for Anne.
While that's happening, because I'm going to say I'm distracted. Can I do soul sight while this is happening to see, just see if I see what the shadow's doing over there? Because that's with the power. I can see the shadow of another soul, perhaps even gain understanding of it. Is what this is. Could I do that, or is that too distracting?
We can say we do that now for sure.
So I got 3 successes plus 2 criticals. So then that's even more. So I'm assuming that's 4 plus 3.
Yeah, 2 10s is the 4, and then plus 3. So that's 7 successes. yeah, your focus is after that and witnessing this almost like assassin level sharpshooting going on here. You do notice that shot was not done by Anna, but it was fueled by the shadow. You can almost sense. I've never been too sure how to describe the shadow as a figure, but you see, I guess, literally a shadow, a darker presence, squatting or bending over whatever. When they moved, the arm moves over. That shot was very clearly done by the shadow.
And I would say 1 success indicates the shadow's angst rating, while 5 successes reveals the shadow's archetype, primary thorn, and dark passion. So I get to see all that because apparently I got 7. So tell me.
Thanks to my great rolling, my current angst is currently 5. 1 dark passion is to kill the bomber pilot that killed Anna. And the other is to destroy new tech. And it was the primary thorn, right?
Yeah.
Which is mirror, mirror.
Got you. And the archetype, what? Did you say the archetype? I apologize.
Archetype is perfectionist.
I would say that, like, while seeing this movement, like, uncharacteristically bullseye, like, I know that wasn't accurate. That is a big change from, like, oh yeah, I went to the gun range at one time. And you can see her eyes kind of follow this shadow and kind of look directly where the eyes should be of this thing. And it's like, you might want to calm down a little bit, like is what Charlotte's gonna say to Anna, and then look over Anna's shoulder. It was like you got a piggyback that's making you not feel great, right?
Oh, I'm sure I do. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to help.
Charlotte's shadow speaks up. And we're going to use honeyed tongue here.
Just leave her alone. She's got her own things to deal with. There's nothing you can do. It's not your problem. Just ignore it.
I'm gonna say I use willpower to like I just like shake my head. It's just like, not now. Nice try though. Really, really, really persuasive. Oof. And then like you can see her like literally have a shiver down her spine. And then focuses on Anna again.
Spoil my fun.
You know it. You know it. That's what I do in general. That's what I did in life. Jesus Christ. And goes back to, there's the way that we work, from what I can tell, is there's always someone in the back of your head.
You see, those are arguing. And we were working so well together. You need me. Just let me go on for a bit. You saw that, right? I'm perfect, like you wish to be. Just let me go. We are better together.
Fine, but just this once.
Just as a point of clarification, are you suggesting to go through the mechanical process of catharsis, where you take over?
Yes.
Oh my God. Awesome.
Yes! For those listening at home, I am waving around my green card. Yes!
So there's no contested role here that the shadow is going to take over. This has gotten very interesting. I was not expecting this.
Was not expecting that. By all means, let go.
Well, I'm going to ask you all to roll one more time, this time including you, Eleanor, on behalf of Anna. So, Eleanor replacing Anna. If you could, what's your dex and firearms, Anna?
She does not have firearms. Her dex is 3.
Cool. So you roll 3 die, Eleanor, and Charlotte once more roll dex and firearms.
Like
1 success.
1 success and 3. The shadow here got a little bit cocky because as you continue to fire for what feels like forever, like getting ammunition and weapons and things, being a bit snappy. Now, obviously he doesn't care for the presence of legionnaires, and also they wouldn't care too much, given the pressure and whatnot, but Charlotte, you're able to concentrate a bit more, but you can tell that something's not quite right with Anna, has previously not quite paying attention. That sense and feeling that you had from before, it's only gone stronger. And I should mention that Anna, the psyche, will not recall any of these memories. So just to let you know, Shadow. And so whilst you've been shooting for all this time, things do begin to calm down a little bit more. With your work and with everything else that's going on, you were able to push back the specters and these massive nihils, the tears in the sky that I mentioned in the ground. They do begin to close up. I will also say that throughout all of this, the effects of the previous castigate with the big protection bubble from the maelstrom had worn off some time ago. And there is one roll that I have to make now to determine how much damage you're taking.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Perhaps part of the distractions and whatnot you've had to the different firings have also come to the weather, and that intense rain, the acid rain I described earlier on, and the winds is beginning to push and batter you along throughout all of this, and it's really starting to show its effect now. It's really beginning to hurt like a fucking lot. All three of you now need to take 4 points of aggravated damage.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot. While this calms down, Anna, which definitely is a legitimate Anna, would like to say to the others,
This could have been done quicker if you would have shot better, and you could have maybe pointed out a bit better. You're not trained in this, are you? You could do better. Charlotte, you could have done so much better. You could have killed them all very much faster.
I already see you.
See what?
Don't pretend.
Pretend what?
Really? I see points at the shadows, just you.
I don't know what you...
I know you're not her already. Stop it.
I'm her now.
For how long? I'm going to try to purify her. No, because I'm I will deal with Anna's sass all day, not this shadow sass. Well, actually, that's another good question. I'm not sure if this would help with when taken over, would it? How was taking over work?
That's a good question. I would still say that it still affects the shadow, because the shadow is very much the one in control now, but it's a power affecting the shadow, so...
That's fair. Okay. So I hurt Anna, but also get rid of some of the temporary angst as well.
I would say that it's does the effect that you... I'll bend the rules ever so slightly, because the catharsis takes over a scene, and with all this... I'll say for narrative reasons, it will work.
So I poke, and then grab at Anna's arm, and then you just kind of see light kind of push through and pulse through her body, and hopefully that's enough to show the shadow, yeah, fuck off, essentially. I see you, motherfucker.
Or whatever the middle 20th century version that would be.
Yeah, I wish I knew what those terms were. I apologize. But get out of her. Shakes the shoulder. And hopefully Anna's back. Just feeling kind of bruised already, on top of the acid rain that's pelting us.
I would say for narrative reasons that Anne has returned. The shadow has been quelled but not vanquished.
Ow, what the heck?
I am sorry, you were not yourself. Sorry.
Well, you didn't have to put your own handprint on my arm. Shoot.
Is everything okay, Anna?
I think so. Did we win?
just gestures around. Why did I even try? Why did I even do it?
Thank you for tuning in to this actual play. We at Lord by Night Productions hope you enjoyed yourselves as much as we did playing and recording it. You have listened to a special delivery, a Wraith the Great War one-shot using 20th Anniversary Edition rules. Our stunning cast for this episode were Rica as Eleanor Reed of the Grim Legion, Ambrose as Charlotte of the Grim Legion, Sara as Anna Homer of the Emerald Legion, and the Lore by Night podcast guy as your storyteller and NPCs. You can support our beautiful cast by following them on their various social media pages. Rica can be found at Rickymon on Twitter and Instagram. Ambrose can be found on at SSAmbrose_ on Twitter and SSAmbrose on TikTok. And Sara can be found at TheHypeGoblin on Twitter and TikTok. And to be kept updated on all things Lore by Night, follow the Lore by Night VGM Twitter and Instagram pages to find out when we will upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.